And welcome into the Monday edition. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. Robby and Rexrode, presented by Green Venture Landscaping. They work with property managers and business owners who want clean, professional properties without the headaches. If you manage it, they maintain it. For more information, visit greenventurelandscaping.com. Hope everybody had an outstanding weekend. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you? What's going on?
Good. I had a good weekend of watching sports. Incredible college basketball weekend, and I would say that the Super Bowl quality amounted to maybe 1 4-minute segment of one of the many awesome games of college basketball I watched. Maybe. Just an absolute dog doo-doo Super Bowl.
It was pretty bad, man. It was pretty rough. It was, and I very much suffer from being prisoner of the moment at the time. But I was thinking about this last night. I even put it in the grid. I was like, this is one of the worst Super Bowls I've watched in my life. Fully realizing that last year's Super Bowl wasn't any good either. But this was one of the worst Super Bowls that I've seen in my life.
Yeah, and this is where, being my age, I have tons of perspective still, because it used to just be every year. It's a blowout, like a complete blowout. I think we finally had that one Super Bowl that was Bengals-Niners the second time around, when Joe Montana's like, hey, John Candy's there, and let's go win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was out of nowhere, and it was surrounded on both sides of it by just disgusting, terrible games.
Yeah.
So
that predated me, though, so it doesn't count.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. For your generation, you're like, this sucks. For me, it's like, 29-13. Well, it's something. It's not top 10 of the worst Super Bowls I've ever seen, but it was bad, very bad, and very boring.
It's Safar. How we doing? What's going on?
Good morning. Solid weekend. Saturday, let's see, we had daddy-daughter dance.
Nice.
So got that knocked out. That was fun, as always. Sunday, we had a few people over, watched the game, a little bit of the halftime show. Overall, I think you guys said it pretty well.
Were you guys dancing to Bad Bunny? Did the Bad Bunny bring the house down?
We were into it.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good. But yeah, happy Monday, everybody.
I got summoned to the next room while the Bad Bunny stuff was going on, and I was knee-deep into Mickey Mouse Clubhouse while that was happening.
Nice.
Goofy was getting it done out there. Let me tell you, that was my halftime show. Was Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Nice.
I did part of me did think last night before going to bed. I don't know why, but I was like, I'm actually kind of glad the Patriots didn't win. I think I didn't want to hear the whole start of that new Patriots dynasty New England thing all over again. So I didn't really care about that going in, but afterwards I was kind of like, I'm kind of glad New England lost. But
they would have been not too far into that game. I was like, if New England somehow gets a strip sack or some punt return and win, they're such a fraudulent champ. They're not close to a championship team. They just are.
Well, it did not take long into that game to realize, they just cannot block Seattle. Yeah. I mean, I need to go find this because I saw people talking about this last night, and I never actually saw the stat for myself, which is always a fun game to play. But I believe it. They were talking about Will Campbell and however many pressures he gave up last night. It's apparently the most in the history of PFF's grading system in a single game, which, look, if you're a Titans fan around here that's watched the Titans over the last few years, you've had the pleasure of watching, Andre Dillard and Dennis Daly and Nicholas Petit-Frere, and there have been some doozies of some games that they put together. But it did reach a point really pretty quickly in the first half last night, Joe, where I was like, man, I kind of feel bad for Will Campbell over there because he's just not blocking anybody. And it wasn't just him. Their whole offensive line got caved in last night, but him in particular, it's like, wow, he's not blocking anyone over there. It doesn't matter who they put across from him.
Yeah, you watch him, you're like, you should be a Titan, young man. Boy.
I guess it was next gen stats, 14 pressures.
Yeah, 14.
It was bad. I mean, it was
the most of any lineman in a single season.
Yeah,
it's kind of amazing.
I don't think it's 1 year, but I don't think he's going to be a left tackle in the NFL. And I mean, it was like Drake May. There were quite a few snaps where he takes the snap and just immediately looks to his left. Yeah, it's just how little time do I have on this one?
Well, I thought the Drake May part of it was kind of weird too, because I thought there was too many times where he sat back there, particularly early in the game. He sat back there and acted like he had time to just like almost make a sandwich in the pocket before getting rid of the ball and he would get sacked. And then other times it was like his clock was so sped up that he would miss a wide open throw when no one was there. Like it was a really weird thing from Drake May.
No, actually Vanini had a great quote. He's like, Drake May is seeing Sam Darnold's ghost.
Yeah.
Because it got to the point where it's like, here you go. You actually do have a clean pocket, wide open receiver, and nope, you sailed it. He was bad.
He was bad.
I mean, again,
last night.
like I get why.
Yeah,
I do. But yeah, that was a very humbling night for him and them.
It was. And look, congratulations to Seattle. I mean, Sam Darnold is now a Super Bowl champion, which I'm sure we'll get into throughout the show here today. But, that defensive performance last night, Collinsworth was raving about it on the broadcast about it, how it's, as good of a defensive performance as he's seen. And it's pretty darn good, man. Like their defense is legit. And the thing about it is, like, you look at their group of edge rushers and nobody really stands out as, what an absolute elite guy that is. But they're all good. That's what and clearly, Mike McDonald, pretty good coach.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I think they're a great example of a team. And I'm glad to see Kenneth Walker get the MVP. I think he deserved it. He was the one guy last night who had the football and looked like a standout player in the NFL. But because, JSN didn't do got a little banged up or whatever, but they're a great example of a team to me that they're not full of star power, including at quarterback. I mean, he was good. He did the job. He tried to throw a couple picks in the first half, especially that second one. Gonzalez has got to catch it, and that could have been. Well, I was going to say it could have been. Thing is, it's not going to change the Patriots not being able to move the ball, but it still would have been like a emotional moment to do that. But he was fine. He was good. They have a lot of good players. It's a good example of build a team that has a lot of good offensive linemen, a lot of good deep, good in the trenches, but not overwhelming. One great player receiver, a great running back. But it's not star power. It's just a whole lot of good roster building, and you can win a Super Bowl.
Well, it's kind of amazing. Like if you'd have told me heading into the game that Darnold would throw for basically 200 yards on the nose and that Jackson Smith and Jigba would have 4 catches for 27 yards, I'd have probably said, well, I guess New England's probably going to win, huh? How about that? But it never even felt like New England was threatening in that game. Now, I will say, after 3 quarters when it was 12-0, I was like, are we about to have a field goal kicker win MVP of the Super Bowl? Because I don't know if I can handle that. But there were some touchdowns actually in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Although that would have been probably fitting for that Super Bowl.
Probably would have.
Yeah, it's also a Super Bowl where it's like, and like the Patriots had made a couple plays in the fourth quarter and got on the board and stuff like that. But it's like, is there anyone you can identify on the defense to be MVP? And to me, there wasn't, because it was just a completely collective dominant effort. But it's like, can you do just like the defense as the MVP? Can you do that?
JC and Gillisville pointing out Drake May ending up with a higher QBR for the game than Darnold, which is very good example of why QBR is a flawed thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, by the way, is also not true. Drake May's QBR was 16.3 and Darnold's was 53. So he did have a higher quarterback rating.
QB rating, yeah.
The ESPN QBR thing is, I don't know what they even do.
I have no idea. But yeah, that's so. If you looked at May's rating one before the game was basically decided, and then after, pretty.
Well, it was like all time bad.
He hit a couple shots,
but you hit a couple shots later in the game, but he was under pressure the whole game. What did he end up getting sacked? 7 times? Was that the official number? Let's see here, 6 times. So.
But constant, just constantly under heat.
Yeah.
And
I tell you what, I thought the best player on the field last night was Christian Gonzalez. I thought he was incredible for New England.
He's a hell of a player, man.
It was like, wow, if he wasn't out there, that game could have been over with by halftime.
Yeah, no, he's an elite. He's like top. Again, got to catch the ball sometimes. Yeah, I guess that's why you're a corner, but he's a top 3 corner in the league, probably.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Jason in Dover says Vrabel sure is good at picking offensive linemen.
Yeah, well, I tell you what. Seriously though, like that's a problem. for them because again, it's just like, okay, so now you got to go back into left tackle search.
Like, are they going to, in all seriousness, after 1 year, are they going to make him a guard?
I think I
kind of have to, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think he has to be a guard. And again, it's like, I don't know, looking at him too, it's like he just doesn't even look like a left tackle. And maybe I'm biased by watching how bad he is at playing the position, but you know what I mean? Yeah. He doesn't really he looks like he doesn't have the required length to do it. But yeah, like that's a when it comes down to it, like they're gonna have good teams and they're gonna be there, they're gonna be in the mix. But like that's the type of decision that really is a problem because you need that to be solidified. You spent the pick that you did on it, and then if that's wrong, you know, we've seen it here.
We have.
It is there's a domino effect to that.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Seahawks win the Super Bowl 29-13, the final score last night. More of your reaction to get to on that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 the game.
Successful relationship and program, and that it's okay to be disappointed. We have to be disappointed and upset together. And, like I always do, I tell them I'm appreciative of them. I'm thankful. I'm grateful that I get to coach them. Part of our identity is not being a front runner. And so, again, just like every year, somebody's going to lose this game, and we have to remember what it feels like and make sure that it's not repeated.
That's Vrabel after the game last night. Boy, I've heard that front runner line a lot.
He loves that one.
He does.
Make sure it's not repeated. Careful, Mike. Are you saying you're never coming back? Possible.
Oh, it's certainly possible.
This is a terrible, like the AFC teams, man. I mean, like Buffalo, you guys have got to be kicking yourselves today. It's ridiculous. None of you could figure out how to get there and give us a game. Really? None of you.
Denver had to deal with the backup quarterback being in there in the blizzard.
I wouldn't have been excited about it. They probably got their ass kicked in this game too.
Yeah, they would have.
It's just, obviously Baltimore had all kinds of stuff going on, but Baltimore, one of those two should have been in this game, and they both blew it. And by the way, Kansas City. I mean, I know that the fatigue is real and it's past fatigue, but I'll take that.
Yeah. As Rob in Clarksville points out, he's asking like which team in the AFC could have had a better chance against them. I don't know. The AFC is pretty flawed this year, but I did think pretty quickly, like about in the start of the second quarter last night, I was like, you know what? I think the real Super Bowl was played probably a couple weeks ago in Seattle between the Rams and the Seahawks. Yeah. Like those are, I think, pretty clearly the two best teams in the league.
Yeah, exactly. And there were other, NFC teams that could have, I still think like the Packers or Eagles. Obviously the Packers had the big injury, but there were a lot. The NFC was a lot better, without question. Seattle is a very worthy champion, and I love champions that aren't just like, because you had the number one pick quarterback, and here you go. Like this is going to be one of those. Maybe not. Like maybe in a few years from now, it'll be like Sam Darnold will be like an elite, but I don't think so. I think he's a good quarterback, and I think this is going to be a great example of you can win the whole thing, which is the whole point of all this in different ways. Well, but the AFC this year, but it should have been Buffalo.
Well, and we're going to discuss later in the show, what can you take away from this if you're the Titans, if you're a Titans fan, if you're, just an NFL fan out there, of like, what do you take away from this Seattle team in terms of how to build a team and how to build a roster and how to build a winner in the NFL? We'll take your thoughts on all that. Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Adam in Portland to the show. Adam, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, man. So I thought that was a great game. I think Ian disagreed with me a little bit, especially early in the going, man. But I love defense, and I love a good punter. You guys know that. So
yeah, we do know that.
Yeah. So not bad. I think the halftime stuff was weird this year, man. Not the show, but like everybody's reaction to it. Like we are such a dumb community right now. Like the whole thing as a collective was weird to me. I will say I'm so happy and relieved that year is over with for football. Like once your team has hit such a certain level, I've never felt like such a sigh of relief for it to end. Usually the day after the Super Bowl, I go into like a pretty deep depression for like 3 or 4 weeks until we start getting like close to free agency. But this year it's different, dude. Like the colors are brighter. Like I can breathe again. I'm like, okay, it's 2026. We got a new coach. No more Brian Callahan. We got a chance to, spend some money. So hopeful, looking forward, and I'm so glad that year's over with, man. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it. I mean, it's officially now, Joe. It's the off season. Hey, we've made it. The off season Titan.
This is where the Titans shine.
Season of hope is now officially upon us here. I agree with Adam.
Let's see if they can get after an off-season championship. Well, let's hang an off-season banner.
The Patriots just won the off-season championship. They ended up in the Super Bowl. Sometimes it works out.
That is true.
Sometimes it works out.
That is very true. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that, Adam. I get it. You get past it and just move on and make sure you take another shot at Brian Callahan when you can.
So we don't love the Patriots' chance to repeat division champ.
Look,
and
people
get back
I don't
around.
know. Like, I think people are going to go nuts on Drake May now, like how bad he was last night. I'm still pretty confident Drake May is going to be a good quarterback for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like Drake May, I did not watch him last night. It was like, well, Patriots are screwed moving forward. But, people have brought this up, and we're going to find out more next year, like the schedule thing. There was a lot of talk about that last night, and they like Tirico and Collinsworth mentioned it on the broadcast about how, by the numbers, it's like the easiest schedule in 25 years. So it's not going to be that next year for the Patriots. So how do they respond to that? What does Drake May look like next year? And yeah, I mean, he's bad last night. They were bad last night, and they were totally outclassed and outmatched. Now, they're also very young. Like, go look at their roster. They're a very young team. So, like, I don't – last night's result did not change the way I view the Patriots moving forward. I still think they're going to be pretty good. Yeah,
they'll knock on the door. They'll be a factor for sure. But, I mean, like, if you tell me, in the next decade, and again, that's already, like, making presumptions on an NFL coach's tenure with the team. But you tell me the next decade the Patriots are going to win, like, 3 Super Bowls, I believe you. If you tell me that May and Vrabel will never come back to the Super Bowl, I believe you. I mean, it's
what the NFL is, man.
Yeah, it's so we'll see. They're gonna have to, like you said. I mean, their left tackle choice is disastrous, and they still got here. And I still say, like, they did what they did in the playoffs to get here. They earned it, and they proved something. But yeah, I mean, they were in that position. If you get a last place schedule and you happen to sync it up with a good year with the NFC division you're playing, stuff like that can happen. But like right now, I'd bet someone that they won't be in the Super Bowl next year. I don't know who will be, but like I don't look at them and say, oh, well, they'll be right back there. I mean, they got work to do. They got to get better. There's a pretty big gap between the team that just won it and them.
No, I totally agree. And I think right now, right now, and I don't know how much of a correlation, Joe, you take away from this, but the fact of the matter is the NFC the last couple of years, I mean, Philadelphia got in the Super Bowl last year and absolutely spanked Kansas City. And yesterday, Seattle totally dominated New England. Like, the NFC is better than the AFC right now. It's pretty clear if you go look at the top of it. So, like, the top of the NFC right now is way better than the top of the AFC. Now, forever, that wasn't the case. So we know it's going to, over the next 5 to 10 years, it'll probably shift back and forth a couple of times here. But that's, at the moment, it's pretty clear. Like, the NFC is better than the AFC.
Yeah, and that flies in the face too of the quarterback thing, because the AFC is loaded with the franchise quarterbacks. They're all over the place. They're all over the AFC. So you got to have more than that. And you got to have some luck and avoid bad luck and all that stuff. But yeah, there are several, the rosters of Philly, of Rams, Seahawks, Eagles. I just said Philly and Eagles. That's
how good their roster is.
Yeah. Packers, with
Parsons.
Yep. Yeah, like you could make the case that there isn't a roster in the AFC that complete. Like, there's holes in these teams. They have some glaring holes in a lot of different places, which is, it's a lot harder to have an all-around solid roster than a roster that doesn't have some glaring holes. But it is wild how it's kind of swung that way now.
Yeah, and again, you're looking at moving forward here. That's what makes Seattle interesting. All right, so you got Darnold. Obviously, you're feeling good about Darnold. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba. You got Kenneth Walker. Like, there's a lot of things to feel good about. And you have that defense. By the way, former Titan Ernest Jones getting the Super Bowl last night, leading the team in tackles last night.
Titan. Ernest
Jones got out there. Still looks very good, by the way.
Yeah.
Looks good. But that defense, like I said, they got a bunch of really good players. They don't have a whole lot of superstars, particularly up front, when they're generating the type of pressure numbers and production that they're putting on the table out there. And then you look at their personnel and it's like, okay, we got DeMarcus Lawrence out there making plays. It's like, I've watched him for a long time in Dallas. They got a lot of really good players. But, like, do we think that Seattle's on the verge of some dynasty here? I don't know. Like, they're going to be in the mix in the NFC. But you go look at their whole team, there's just no weakness. And that's what kind of stood out really from the middle of the year on. Like, when we were starting to really look at Seattle, it's like, okay, so Darnold's playing really well. They have maybe the best offensive player in the game right now in Jackson Smith and Jigba. And their defense is just absolutely suffocating. Like, that's what made the Rams when you go back and look at the way they played the Rams, you had that barn burner in the regular season that looked, Stafford's out there slinging it, and they screwed it up in the middle of the game. And then the playoff game, what'd Stafford throw for in that game? Like 370 or whatever it was. It's like, and then you watch that defense last night. It's like, how does anybody ever move the ball on that defense?
Right. Yeah. Which tells you a little something about Stafford and his offense and what they got going. No, it's it's like a different level. It is. It's like the old NFL AFL right now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, how that's cute. The New York Jets.
615-737-1025, our phone number. So what can we learn from this Seattle team, how it was constructed, and apply that to the Tennessee Titans moving forward here? Because this is what people do in the NFL. You say, wow, that worked, huh? Let's see if we can copy that. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, The Game.
Well, I'm glad you asked that because it really is about our staff filling in all those areas that lets you do both jobs, So I think we've gotten to a point on defense where it's like, look, I'm saying the words on Sundays, but we know what we're going to call. We know why we're going to call it. They've helped build it. They've handled all the details throughout the week that let me do head coaching stuff. Leslie Frazier deserves a massive shout out on that front. AD is a tremendous defensive coordinator. I mean, you just go right down the list on our staff of like what they contribute to the game plan and how we call games throughout the game. It's not just like me on the headset just deciding what we're doing from play to play. There's a lot of feedback. There's a lot of kind of recalibration as games go in order to make adjustments, and it takes a lot off my plate. And I think that's what shows with the product on the field.
As Mike McDonald last night becomes the first head coach that's the primary defensive play caller, Joe, to win a Super Bowl. We talked about that last week and the opportunity in front of him. He says, I'm the one calling the plays on Sundays, but our staff, we know what's going on out there. But we talked about, hey, the Titans are going this route. They got their head coach calling defensive plays, and now history has been made. The path has been laid down in front of Robert Saleh with Mike McDonald becoming the first head coach who's the primary defensive play caller to get it done.
There you go. Titans don't even need to follow the blueprint. They already were.
Yeah, they were pre-following the blueprint.
Before it was the championship formula. So now they have the championship formula. There it is.
Yeah, it's right there in front of them. So what do we take away from this? Like if you're a Titans fan, if you're a Titans executive, if you're looking around the league and you watch Seattle, what they put together this year, what do you take away from the Seahawks in terms of how they built their team, how they built their roster, and what led to success there with Mike McDonald? It's interesting because what was this, McDonald's second year? So you're talking about his second year as a head coach. In year one, Joe, they had Geno Smith as quarterback. They make the decision in the offseason to move on from him and bring in Darnold. And I remember, their big offseason splash moves were Darnold, number one, and then they signed Cooper Kupp after he got released from L.A. By the way, pretty good game from Kupp last night. He was the leading receiver for the Seahawks in the game last night for 6 catches, 61 yards. So you got Darnold and Kupp that you added to the fold, and you had a defensive guy that had a really impressive background with Baltimore that now comes in and is your head coach. And their defense was just stifling all year long. And by the way, like Sam Darnold, you're talking about now back-to-back seasons where you went 14-3 as a starting quarterback in the NFL, and then had a huge game in the NFC Championship game. Like, he didn't have to do a whole lot last night. I thought early on he got away with probably 2 or 3 throws that could have been picked off, but they weren't. And there did reach a point in the game last night, Joe. I was like, why is Seattle throwing the ball? Like, just turn around and hand it off, and you're going to be getting out of here with a win. Now, they did throw a touchdown pass after that, but nonetheless, it's an impressive 2-year stretch here that Sam Darnold has put together, and now he's capped it off with a Super Bowl championship. So when you look at how they built this thing, it's not going to be the same way the Titans built it, right? Like, Sam Darnold came in off the street from Minnesota after the Vikings said, yeah, he's pretty good, but not good enough, and J.J. McCarthy's our guy now. So Darnold, go get Darnold. And then you bring in Kupp. You had some – and Smith and Jigba took a massive step from last year to this year. Titans don't have a Jackson Smith and Jigba on their team at the moment. We'll see if that changes by the time the draft comes around. And by the way, take a free agent target off the board. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show. If you're a Titans fan and you're watching what Seattle put together, what do you take away from it?
Well, some things that we talk about all the time, which is obviously if the draft well, like no one gets here if they don't draft well. 26 of the guys on the roster drafted since 2022. And that includes those 2, Witherspoon and Woolen. So I think you don't find too many champions who don't have at least one top cornerback. The trenches is still where everything starts. But I think definitely one of the strongest parts of that team is, the ability, like they're versatile in the secondary. I mean, last night Collinsworth was talking a lot. He was talking a lot, period. But he was talking a lot about the, changing the picture after the snap and how much they were confusing Drake May. So you have the defensive play caller and all that. You have a defensive coach. So now in the NFL, we are seeing, like, you can do this with a defensive coach. I mean, both of them were last night. But a couple things that, like you said, this is not a Titans thing. They did the Darnold thing. It worked. I think you will see, especially winning it, I think you will see more teams who are quarterback needy, maybe not necessarily say, well, we just have to take the top QB this draft because it's our draft and we need a quarterback, maybe trying to do that. But the big thing they do that some teams don't do, and there's some GMs out there who are, I think, especially just, I don't know, they have blinders on, the mid-season trades. Leonard Williams, Ernest Jones, Rashid Shaheed, those are huge. Yeah. Those are right? Like those are huge moves in season. Well, Lions fans will tell you they've been begging their GM, like, if you have a weakness, it's great to have draft capital, but you know what? If you're this close, go get a really good player. This happens now in the NFL. And so to their credit, to John Schneider's credit, he's like, yeah, well, let's do it. I mean, in other sports, you automatically know if your baseball team is contending, they're going to go buy someone.
Yeah.
In the NHL, you're going to go get someone if you're one of those top teams. For whatever reason, I know it's different, but some of these GMs are afraid of that. This guy's not, and that's made a difference.
There's no doubt. And, look, last night's game really had nothing to do with the quarterback. Like, Ed on the text line is asking if you put Cam Ward on the Seahawks team, do they win the Super Bowl? I mean, all season long, probably not, right? Like, Darnold had a really good year. I doubt very seriously that Cam Ward this last year as a rookie quarterback is coming in and having the same type of year as Sam Darnold had. Now, last night's game, if you put Cam Ward on the team, do they win the Super Bowl? Probably. I mean, the defense, you could have put Joe at quarterback out there last night, and they may have won the game last night. So,
True.
I mean, it's just that's how good their defense was. So, they are a complete team. And I mean, I guess in all seriousness, specialist pretty good. Punter was punting the ball last night. We kept putting it out on like the 3, the 4.
He was.
Like, wow.
He was amazing.
He's going nuts out there. The Darnold part of this is what makes it so intriguing because, Joe, like, honestly, Darnold may be a much better version of this. I don't know. I guess it just depends on who you ask. But I was kind of, as this has all been going on, I was kind of thinking of Tannehill, right? In those years with the Titans where we were like, does anybody think that Ryan Tannehill, I know that Ryan Tannehill in 2019 put up ridiculous numbers. In 2020, he put up really good numbers again. But we talked about this the whole time. It's like, did anybody ever believe that Tannehill was like, a top 5 quarterback or a top 10 quarterback? Probably not. But if you put a good roster around him, your quarterback can play really well. Do I think that Sam Darnold is a top 5 quarterback? Probably not. Is he a top 10 quarterback? Maybe. I mean, with the way he's played the last couple of years, you could certainly make the argument. But it's another example, Joe, of if you can build your roster the right way, you don't necessarily need your quarterback to be the best player in the league to go out there and win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And the quarterbacks who have been the best player in the league or have been in the discussion, other than Mahomes, all those other guys have nothing. They do not have what Sam Darnold has. They do not have rings that he will now put on his feet. So it's exactly right. And again, do you want one of those guys? Absolutely. But it's there. You have to build a team. And I would actually argue with that. I think Tannehill was a top 10 in that stretch.
I do not. But the point being,
I mean, if you go back in 2020, I mean, just by the number 33-5 and what he did, I mean, statistically he was. Regardless, you're right. He was never going to be the top tier of QB, whatever that number was. But I would also say the way he played when he got the job in 19 and 20 is better than anything I've seen from Sam Darnold. I mean, Sam Darnold's good, or it's comparable, And again, yes, there were people back then. Well, you're just not winning a Super Bowl with this guy. That's not true. If he doesn't throw 3 picks against the Bengals, maybe they would have. But regardless, just the whole idea of that, you're not winning a Super Bowl with that guy. Like, how many times do we have to see this happen before you realize that there's so much more to this than that position?
Yeah. And so what does that mean for Ward, right? Like, we talked about Ward at the time. When you draft a quarterback number 1 overall, I mean, your expectations are that he's going to be a quarterback that's good enough for you to win the Super Bowl. You're going to be a quarterback that is right there in the discussion, hopefully at some point, as, top 5, top 10 best quarterbacks in the league. But what does that mean in terms of your, like, the whole thing is about winning a championship, right? So does Seattle care that they got Sam Darnold via free agency and they didn't draft him, that he won the Super Bowl? No. Like the whole point is to win the Super Bowl. And there are different ways to do that. Look, even Mahomes, right? Like, Mahomes, everybody would agree, over the last 5-6 years has been the best quarterback in the league. He's going to end up being one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. And he is primarily the reason that they have won these Super Bowls. But go back and watch their teams. They've won it different ways.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he has been He's had the years where he's thrown for 55 touchdowns and slung it all over the yard and all those things. And he has been the best player on the field, and he's carried them to victory. And they've also had teams where he's been good. He's been really good. But he hasn't had to go out there and just be dominant every time because they've had really good defenses along the way too. Like even like the different iterations of that Kansas City team have won it different ways.
Oh, totally. The team that won in Baltimore and then won it and beat the Eagles, I mean, he was more of a game manager for a defensive team, right? Like, yes, he's still a game manager who could make absurd plays, and he was able to make up for the limitations around him. I mean, he's great. He's
I'm not trying to tear down Patrick Mahomes.
No, but you're totally right. It's like that totally, like, which is funny. It's almost like the reverse of like the Brady arc, which is the early teams were very much a great defense, and he just had to, like, do the job, make clutch plays, but didn't have to carry them. Then later he more carried them. It's almost like the flip-flop of the Kansas City model.
Oh, and by the way, there probably will come a point again when Kansas City goes through some retooling of their roster here where he's carrying them again, and they're back in the discussion for the Super Bowl.
Right.
So,
exactly.
But it highlights that, like, there are different ways to win the championship. And frankly, I think the thing that stands out to me the most about the last two champions and maybe where we're at in the league right now is Philadelphia's defense last year in the playoffs was they just suffocated you. Like, you couldn't do anything, right? You had Jalen Carter up front just kicking everybody's butt. You had a secondary that was playing really well. Their linebackers are really fast. And it was like, well, what do you do against this Philadelphia defense? And it took, 7 minutes into the Super Bowl last year for you to realize, oh, Kansas City can't move the ball on this team. Like, they cannot go. Seattle's the same, right? Like, Seattle's defense, it took 7 minutes into the game last night. You're like, wow, well, Drake May has no chance in this game because he's flat on his back every time. And that's the last two champions. Their defense has just been totally overwhelming. And is that the cycle we're going through in the NFL right now, where it's like you get pretty good quarterback play and then you just absolutely choke the life out of people on the defensive side of the ball? That's been the formula the last 2 years.
It's the old cliche that people have rightfully dunked on for a long time, the defense wins championships thing, I mean, there certainly have been some teams that have been more led by their offense and have not had great defenses. I wonder what is the worst defensive team that we've seen win it all? I mean, like, there's been some teams that, like, were good, decent, solid, not great.
Yeah.
But you have to at least be that. But yes, here we are again. I've always said this in college football. Like, obviously, you if you're going to start somewhere, you start at quarterback. But the next thing you go to, if you look at national championships in college football over the years, is D-line. It's usually unbelievable.
Yep.
Like, most champions in college football have, like, multiple pros up front and just stuff the run and get after the quarterback. And it's just, if you can do that, like Dustin Ross was like, well, I'm off receiver, it's edge. I mean, look, the Titans lost their best player, had Tannehill playing well, but he wasn't playing great in 21. They had A.J. Brown, but that team had a chance and was the number one seed because they had Simmons and they had Autry and they had Landry and they even had Bud Dupree going. And it was like think about Kansas City coming in here that year. They could not block them. They destroyed Kansas City and destroyed the Chiefs offense. That's as much a tried and true formula, I think, as there is, other than, of course, having a great quarterback.
615-737-1025, our phone number. What do you take away from Seattle's formula to how they won the championship this season? How do you apply it if you're a Titans fan, if you're trying to build the Titans moving forward? Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode brought to you by Green Venture Landscaping. Green Venture Landscaping designs and builds outdoor spaces that actually get used. Patios, hardscapes, the whole deal. Homes and businesses that want to stand out, not blend in. For more information, visit greenventurelandscaping.com. Taking your thoughts on the Seahawks. They win the Super Bowl last night. The formula of how they put their roster together. A lot of people on the text line are basically like, yeah, well, the hell I saw that all go last night. Let's make sure you get as dominant as defensive line as possible. Cam says, after that last night, Ruben Bain to the Titans at 4, signed Jalen Phillips, and let's wreck the line of scrimmage every single week.
Yeah, it's never the wrong answer, man. If you can do it, it's never the wrong answer. If you can get pressure with 4 consistently, it just over time you're going to win more than you lose. And I say that. I guess if everything else about your team stinks, you won't. But you get the idea. It makes things so much better. And Robert Saleh, I'm sure values that too.
Oh yeah,
Robert Saleh, who we expect to make the Titans better on defense quickly. Look at some of the dudes he had with the Jets. Like, he had some dudes with the Jets. He's got a dude here for sure. Needs more dudes.
He does. Weston Clarksville asking if we somehow got Darnold, what would our record have been last year? I doubt we'd have gotten 14 wins. Then we'd say Darnold wasn't any good.
Well,
they definitely would not have had 14 wins with Sam Darnold.
No, would not have 14 wins. Would they have had more wins? Yeah, I'd guess more wins.
Yeah,
more success. Like if Darnold came to this team, he's coming to a bad team. So people aren't, you better do what you just did with Minnesota. Minnesota's a good team. Titans are a bad team. So I don't know. I think they would have won more, and I think he'd probably be the quarterback next year too, because there's realistic expectations were not high.
Well, we talked about Kenneth Walker. I'm going to doubt he's going to make it to free agency.
Yeah.
No. The Super Bowl MVP, I'm going to.
He made himself some money.
You can probably take him off the list last night. You probably could before last night anyway, but after last night, I imagine Seattle's going to try to get him back in the fold there.
You would think so. Yeah, because it's interesting because they really were like splitting him and Charbonnet.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then once they had, it was like, oh, yeah, actually, he's way better. What have you guys been doing? Yeah. So someone on the text line says the first Tennessee-born player to win Super Bowl MVP. He's Michigan State's first Super Bowl MVP. He's the first Tennessee-born player. Is that right?
I think I did read that.
Yeah, because my mind immediately went to Richard Dent, TSU great, Bears Super Bowl MVP. But as Robby researched during the break, he's from Atlanta, so TSU, but not from Tennessee.
Did we adopt Peyton at any point? I know he's not from Tennessee. Did we adopt him at any point?
I mean, yeah, basically.
Honorary Tennessee?
Yeah, basically. So
Peyton Manning?
I guess you could sort of.
Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer.
That's right. That is true. Is Richard Dent a Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know.
Should be.
Find out. Go ask Brad Willis.
Brad, get him in if he's not in.
Oh, man. The defensive part of this is interesting because, look, Saleh, at the height of San Francisco's defense with Saleh, that's what they did, is they rushed forward. And it was like, wow, you got Nick Bosa out there just creating total havoc, and you drop 7 and your defense is back there. It's hard to move the ball on them because you can generate that much pressure with 4. That's where you want to get to. Now, right now, as the Titans are currently constructed, they're a long way from that. They've got Jeffrey Simmons that is able to do that, but they're going to have to add some pieces here to be able to do that. If you can get there, though, like that, it's Philadelphia could do that. Kansas City at times has been able to do that. Obviously, we saw last night Seattle could do it. Like, it just gives you such an advantage if you could rush 4 guys and they can consistently cause havoc on the passer. And when you do that, it makes a lot of things on the defensive side of the ball a lot easier to handle at that point.
No doubt. It makes a huge difference. Now, to my earlier question, so I knew I could count on Ed. He brings up the point of the Colts, speaking of Peyton Manning, 2006, 26 in DVOA. So, and then that's a good catch-all stat for defensive quality. So it's pretty bad defense. Now, so if you have Peyton Manning, I guess they didn't have Edgerrin still, right? When they won,
I don't believe so.
Think they did. But okay, but if you have Peyton Manning and you have Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne and you have Dallas Clark and you have that offensive line, there you go. That was a great team of flying in the face of defense win championships. Also, I still would say Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis. I said they must have Bob Sanders. They have Bob Sanders. Like they still had great player. Like
Sure.
Great players on defense. It's not like, I mean, if you go through the playoffs, I mean, it's not like they were in these high scoring games. They're giving up
that Hall of Fame kicker.
They did have a sometimes maybe drunk, but great kicker. I'm looking at like their scores. They gave up 17. Yeah, granted, I guess it is kind of bad if you go up 17 points to Rex Grossman in a Super Bowl, but 17 in the Super Bowl. They did beat the Patriots in a total shootout.
Because didn't Hester bring the opening kickoff back in the Super Bowl? It's like, how about that?
That's right.
Yeah.
That by far the best part of that team was just Devin Hester returning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. There's different ways to do it. But maybe we are cycling a little bit back to, again, like you said, last two Super Bowl champs have just, and again, it wasn't that long ago. The Bucs are the same thing. Dominated the other team's offensive line.
The trend in the NFL is people are scared to death now in the NFL of getting beat deep. And it doesn't mean nobody gets beat deep anymore, right? Like Jackson Smith and Jigba had plenty of plays down the field. And you can look every week in the league, there are plenty of downfield plays that get made. But everybody's sitting back in these, these two-shell defenses, and they got the safeties way back, and they're scared to death of getting torched down the field. So more and more in the NFL, you're having to see teams drive the ball down the field. And some teams do it better than others, but I think you're seeing, and we talked about it, like you think back to 4 or 5 years ago, Joe, and the Titans, that 2020 Titans team scored like 30 some odd points a game. And they still weren't the number one scoring offense in the league. Like the offenses were having a time in the NFL.
Yep.
And the last few years, you've seen the defenses and defensive coaches, I think, kind of respond to that. And they're like, well, you know what?
No doubt.
If you want to run the ball all over us all the way down the field and you want to try to put together these 10-play drives, knock yourself out, eventually you're going to make a mistake, which sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But people are scared to death of giving up the deep shot now in the NFL.
Yeah. And defenses, it's cyclical, and they are. The defensive coaches are kind of getting the upper hand. They're canceling these routes and stuff like that to figure out, how to respond to some of the offensive innovation. So it'll go on and on. Speaking of trends real quick in the NFL, Kenneth Walker, first running back to win Super Bowl MVP since?
Good Lord.
Terrell Davis?
You got it.
Is Terrell Davis was the last one?
1997. Talk about a trend that people would, it's like, hey, a good running back also does help you.
It does.
In football. How about that?
Golly, I can't believe it's been that long.
That's wild, isn't it?
That is pretty crazy. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. We'll continue to take your thoughts on the Super Bowl from last night. Plus, a former Vol in some hot water over the weekend. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. We are presented by Green Venture Landscaping. If you're tired of guessing with your lawn, Green Ventures Landscaping uses professional turf application to get real results. Thicker grass, better color, fewer bare spots. Design, build, maintain. For more information, visit greenventurelandscaping.com. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Corey Curtis will be with us at 8 o'clock. By the way, an interesting stat that I've seen now on Twitter from Marcus Mosher, who is the host of the Locked On Cowboys podcast, senior NFL contributor at Fanside.
Okay.
He's put this graphic together of Super Bowl winning running backs and their cap percentage over like since 2009. Kenneth Walker, for reference, is 0.9% of Seattle's cap. So they just won that. Saquon Barkley last year, 1.5% of the Eagles cap, which on this list, pretty big number.
Yeah.
The largest one on the list dating back to 2009 was Marshawn Lynch in 2013, who was a 6.2% of Seattle's cap at that time.
Wow. Yeah, nice to have the running back on the rookie contract, because I mean Walker is a second round pick. I think that's right.
I think that is correct.
Second, maybe even third, but I think second. So now then it gets into the
second round.
To me,
41st overall.
It's a no brainer. I think you're right. It will be a no brainer. You give that guy. There are people though that still say, running back, second deal, no, thank you. You know, again, if you were in this town, and some of you were, Andrew, with a radio show saying, "Oh no, you can't give Derrick Henry the second deal." Like, let's all remember, like, there's no rule in this league that's 100%.
By the way, 3-time Super Bowl champion and former Titan LeGarrette Blount on this list 3 times. Patriots, he was 0.2% of their cap. In 2014, 2016 Patriots, he was 0.6% of their cap. In 2017, he won with the Eagles. And he was 0.7% of the cap. There you go. LeGarrette Blount.
How about that?
Getting it done out there.
Hey, man. It's good to be on great teams.
It is. It's good to be on great teams. Joe, a former Vol in hot water this weekend, James Pierce Jr., who had a really good rookie season for the Atlanta Falcons. I think he finished with 10.5 sacks. In legal trouble this weekend following what the police said was a domestic dispute with WNBA player and former Vol Rakia Jackson over the weekend. James Pierce Jr. has 5 felony charges against him. He is now out of jail after posting bond on Sunday. But essentially, there was some sort of disagreement that took place here, which eventually led to him leaving the scene and going on a police chase where he crashed his car and then got arrested in the aftermath of all that. And if you think back, Joe, to last year, you know, James Pierce Jr., obviously a really good player at Tennessee. And then before the draft started to come up, all this talk about some character concerns and some issues with James Pierce Jr. came up. And we talked about it at the time. It was like, you know, nothing really ever came out at Tennessee while he was there in terms of, you know, any sort of issues that were going on behind the scenes. But it was all over the place in the pre-draft process. It didn't stop Atlanta for taking him in the first round. But now here we are, a year into his career after what was a very good rookie season for him, and he is in very serious legal trouble.
This is a really, really awful, ugly situation. I don't want to speculate beyond, you know, there's speculation about a lot of, but I mean, the bottom line is like crashing his car into her car while apparently she was trying to go to the police. Yeah. I mean,
and then leaving. And then going on
5 felonies, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, aggravated stalking, fleeing police. Then the charge of it's a Florida specific charge of resisting an officer without violence to his person. I mean, no lawyer, but you know, just on the legal side of this, I mean, even a plea bargain, I feel like, is he going to be able to avoid, you know, being incarcerated,
right?
First of all, and then you wonder, just there's a much bigger concern overall with all of this. I mean, this is ugly. So, I mean, hopefully this results in, beyond the legal aspect of it and the football aspect of it, like him getting help And then, I think there could be a severe consequence here.
Well, the general manager at the time for the Falcons when they drafted him was Terry Fontenot. And I remember they drafted James Pierce because they doubled. Didn't they have 2 picks in the first round? Yeah, they drafted Jalen Walker at number 15. And then they got back in and drafted James Pierce. So they essentially doubled down on their pass rush. And James Pierce, I think he had 10.5 sacks this year. But at the time, Terry Fontenot was asked about all the off-field stuff with James Pierce, and he said, quote, that the Falcons were about as thorough and detailed as you can possibly be, end quote, on doing research with him. And they talked with him, including, quote, everybody that's surrounded with him. And now here we are a year in, and just like you said, it's a crazy situation that he's now in. And look, I guess with all this stuff that's happened now with the charges, and we'll see where all that goes, but I think he's got somewhere in the neighborhood of $7 million guaranteed left on his deal that could be totally voided with all this. That's kind of the least of the concerns at the moment for me. Where's this all headed with James Pierce at the age of 22?
Yeah. This could have been tragic, really tragic. And so this has got to be one of those, again, beyond figuring out legally, what kind of plea bargain may be there and all that stuff. There's a lot that needs to go into, him and getting out of this on the other side of this, because this is not just this is out of control. This particular situation.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. By the way, the Falcons have issued a statement on this saying that they're gathering more information. Obviously, they've got an entirely new staff in there now with Kevin Stefanski, Ian Cunningham that's hired as general manager, and now their new president of football, which is Matt Ryan. So it's an entirely new regime that is in there that did not select James Pierce last year. But also, from their perspective, I think you took the job and you're looking around, you're like, cool. We've got a rookie pass rusher that just had 10.5 sacks this year. That's a pretty good building block on the defensive side of the ball. And now you have this situation. You're like, oh my God, this is a big deal here. So I wonder what's going through the mind of Matt Ryan and Kevin Stefanski today as they're trying to sort through all this stuff.
Yeah. And on the big picture of the NFL aspect of this, look, there's plenty of examples of teams that take a calculated risk on the quote unquote, and again, quote unquote character concerns can be such a huge range of things.
Yes.
But remember Pierce, early in his last year at Tennessee, he was kind of a popularly discussed number 1 overall pick. That's the talent level we're talking. And so obviously this is another example for a team of you better be sure. The Titans, by the way, have that situation with Jeffrey Simmons and what happened in high school and all that stuff. And they did the research, and there was criticism here and all that, and it turned out to be obviously
the right
move. Great choice by them, but it's something to take very seriously. And this is why some teams with these things are just okay, nope, because whatever out of I don't know. I'd love to see the math. And there may not be math because, again, it's just different situations. But some teams are just it's just not. There's enough good players that you don't have to do that stuff.
615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. We've discussed a potential free agent target that the Titans could be eyeing this offseason. Well, you can take him off the board. We'll get into that coming up next and figure out where in the world the Titans are going to go at wide receiver. All that coming up. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. 94.9 The Fan, your home for Vanderbilt women's basketball. Tonight, the Commodores taking on Oklahoma at Memorial Gym at 8 o'clock. Pregame beginning at 7:45. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025, our phone number. 615-737-1025. Well, Joe, we spent a lot of time last week talking about George Pickens and whether or not he would make it to free agency. If he did, would the Titans have interest in him, given the 93 catches for 1,429 yards that he put up last year in Dallas? Well, it didn't look like he's going to make it to free agency. The Cowboys, according to Adam Schefter, are expected to place their franchise tag on George Pickens and then hopefully, for their sake, eventually lead to a longer-term deal with him. So a little bit of a timeline here in the NFL. So you got the window to use franchise tags is coming up, I believe, February 17th is the day that starts. We're a month away from today, from the legal tampering window opening in NFL free agency. So as we know, I mean, NFL free agency, I think, officially opens March the 11th. By the time that opens, there will be about 75 deals that are out there.
Ready to be announced.
So basically, NFL free agency is a month from today, Joe. So you can take George Pickens off the list, reportedly going to be franchised by Dallas, and then they're going to work on a long-term deal with him.
That's good. I was sick of arguing about him anyway. Sure. Get him out of there. Congrats to him. Congrats to Dallas. Probably, well, who knows? Dallas they do weird stuff, but say it. Probably has some comment on him if they're doing that. Although the tag is also it's like tag with the idea of doing a long term. Let's see if it's like the long term is done, or if it's like, let's tag him. We'll do one more year.
Yeah.
It could be that too, but that's a big number. I mean, at that position, the average of the top three, right?
I believe so.
It's a big number at that position. So
big number.
He's gone.
Big production. We'll see what happens on that front. So now the question is, the Titans, I mean, look, the Titans are looking for a lot of different wide receivers, number one and otherwise. But eventually, you're going to need to find a number one wide receiver if you're the Titans. So how do they go about doing it? And is it possible to do it this offseason? Now, look, as we get deeper into the draft talk, there are still, I'm sure, going to be people that look at it and say, take a shot on Carnell Tate. Get Carnell Tate in there. We were talking about a lot of those different options that are going to be there towards the top part of the draft that the Titans could go with their pick at number 4. A lot of people today have looked at it and say, man, there should be a lot of edge rushers that are available there that could really help this football team by the time the number 4 pick comes around. I think at this point, with Pickens not going to be in free agency, you look at free agency and it's like, okay, I don't know, could you get Wan'Dale Robinson to come here? There's some history there with Brian Dable. So what could that look like? What's his future going to look like? We've talked about Dobbs. We've talked about Alec Pierce from Indianapolis. Neither one of those guys are number one wide receivers, but they're good players, and the Titans can go get them. But long-term, looking at it right now, how are you going to solve your number one wide receiver problem if you are Mike Borgonzi and the Tennessee Titans right now?
Yeah, well, I know that this is not the team to look at as a model because they just got smoked. They were in the Super Bowl last night. I mean, some teams have multiple twos, twos and threes. That's not, ideally, that's not what you want, but the Titans aren't going to be able to address everything this offseason. And so maybe they end up with a good player out of free agency, and maybe they draft defense early, and then they have another more round receiver that they hope can come in and matter, as they did with 2 guys last year that turned out to be good choices the 4th round, and roll with that, and you don't have a clear one. I mean, it's not ideal. I love the idea of being able to draft a receiver in the 1st round and develop that player into your wide receiver 1. I just kind of have my doubts that at 4, there's anyone that good overall as on the overall board to do it. So it might just be adding talent, adding depth, adding quality, but not having that guy. And if that's the case, that's fine, as long as you're whatever you do otherwise, like in the 1st round, hits.
Yeah, I mean that may be the way you have to go. And again, we could get into the Ridley discussion. What do you do with Ridley and his contract? Of the receivers that could be available in free agency, which one makes the most sense for you to target, whether it's Dobbs or Pierce or whatever it is? Like, we'll have plenty of time for those discussions. But the draft part of this is interesting because I do think, eventually if the Titans are going to find their number one wide receiver, it's probably going to have to come through the draft. Like, that's typically how those guys are found in the draft. I mean, I guess you could trade for A.J. Brown again this offseason, just bring him back home.
Yeah.
That could be possible.
There you go.
But typically you find those guys in the draft. So, I mean, at number 4, is there any wide receiver, when you go through your process here, is there a wide receiver that is worthy of being picked number 4 in the draft? Especially when you compare him to some of these edge rushers that will be there. Like, there's going to be an edge rusher there at number 4 that the Titans are going to have the opportunity to pick, and then we'll see what that looks like. Can you find, like they did with A.J. Brown, can you find a guy that turns into that in the second round this year? Like, it's not impossible to find that, but you got to do a pretty good job scouting those guys.
You do. I mean, what round did Puka Nacua go in?
Was he 5th?
I think 5th. I wanted to say
5th.
God. Maybe 4th, 5th.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4th round. It happens. Like you said, A.J. Brown, 2nd round, it happens. I've said it. I'll continue to say it, and then we'll see how it goes next year. My favorite receiver in this draft is Mekhi Lemon. I think he's got JSN, Amon-Ra type upside in the NFL. No one, I think most people, most of the mock drafts have him as like the 3rd or 4th receiver going, and like late in the 1st round. So I just would be surprised if the Titans, again, they have their own board. They do kind of end up seeming to be pretty close to each other, and that would be perceived as quite a reach. So
Todd McShay, latest mock, has Titans going edge.
There we go.
4.
With
your boy
Bailey.
Yep.
Yeah,
it'd be a pretty good pick.
I like it. I don't hate that at all. I think that's probably, other than offensive tackle, of course, which we all agree they really should do. But
that's what I took away last night. Is like, you know what the Titans really need on their team right now? Will Campbell. That's what they need out there.
Someone called him a salon door on the text line. I thought that was pretty good. It's even better. That's a next step up from Mandor. Yeah. It's actually like insulting to compare Mandor to him. Like it's woo, and they were in the Super Bowl. So.
Brave will be thrilled with Mandor out there.
Yeah. But I will be surprised. I just don't think Carnell Tate, I don't think he's that level player. I don't think Jordan Tyson is either. I mean, either of them could end up being the greatest receiver of all time. Ohio State receivers typically are working out pretty well in this league. Although Marvin Harrison is a disappointment for where he went, but he's still he's good, very good player. And obviously JSN's incredible. And there's guys all over the league, but I don't think Tate is that guy. I mean, he's a clear second best receiver on their team this year. And it's great to be a receiver on a team that has Jeremiah Smith.
Well, let me be clear. I think Tate's good. Is Tate a game-changing player in the NFL? Like, is he a number 1 bona fide big-time threat in the NFL? I'm not convinced of that. Like, I think he's going to be a good NFL player.
Yeah.
Is he going to be a great NFL player? I don't know.
That's what you drafted for.
Yeah.
You better be really confident in that if you're going to draft him at 4.
Agreed. So if it's not coming in the draft, it's going to be interesting to see how the Titans find this, because I know everybody's answer to this will be, well, just wait until the next year. You can go draft one of those receivers. Well, if you're in a position to draft like a Jeremiah Smith or, the Ryan Williams part of this is going to be interesting to see how the year he has next year, because it did not go Ryan Williams' way this year in college football.
But it's just hard for me to buy that he's not going to figure it out.
It's hard for me to buy he's not going to figure it out, but there should be some pretty good receiving options available in 2027. But like, if you have the type of season that you want to have this year, which is taking a significant step from, the 3-win team that you've been the last couple of years, like, I don't know, can you get to 7 or 8 next year? Well, if you do that, you're probably not going to be in a position to draft Jeremiah Smith in 2027.
That's
right? So how do you solve this problem moving forward? I mean, if you're in a position to draft Jeremiah Smith in 2027, it probably doesn't speak well of Borgonzi and Salah's first year
Play like your name's Jebediah for Jeremiah.
If they're in position to draft Jeremiah Smith, barring some injury that we can't sit here and foresee, we're probably going to end up having discussions about the quarterback after that, right?
The quarterback, right. So it's like, oh, you can get that guy. Yeah, but you need someone different to throw to him.
Yeah.
Oh, you can get that guy. Yeah, but the GM's got to be fired. So is the new GM going to pick him?
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, you probably don't want to be in that kind of position.
Probably not.
But it'd be great to get Jeremiah Smith.
I'm confident he's going to be a great player.
Him and nothing else.
Yep.
Tennessee Titans 2027.
Yep. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Not a very good weekend for Tennessee and Kentucky. Or Tennessee and Vanderbilt. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, presented by Green Venture Landscaping. They work with property managers and business owners who want clean, professional properties without the headaches. If you manage it, they maintain it. For more information, visit greenventurelandscaping.com. We'll have the Rob Rant coming up here in just a few minutes. Corey Curtis from News 2 will be with us at 8 o'clock, so looking forward to that. Taking your thoughts in the meantime, 615-737-1025. Joe, not a great weekend for Tennessee or Vanderbilt on the hardwood. Tennessee had a 14-point lead at halftime against Kentucky and saw that evaporate in the second half. They lose 74-71. So, Joe, the second time in a 3-week span that Tennessee was handling Kentucky through one half and then just totally choked it away in the second half.
I don't know what obviously Rick Barnes had tremendous success against John Calipari and really flipped that series around. I think it kind of turned it into the best rivalry in the SEC. They had a lot of success against loaded teams, and the Mark Pope thing is really bothering him so far. And again, they just had no reason to lose this game, but they go through. Still, they're prone to these droughts, and then all of a sudden it's like it's just a clank fest. And they made some mistakes. I mean, Ament was overall had a great game, but again, like everybody disappeared as Kentucky kind of chips away, and then gets it to the end and just made the plays that Tennessee didn't at the very end of the game. So that's a tough one. I actually really kind of watching that game, I'm like, okay, look where this, where things are going for Tennessee here. I mean, you get that win, and that's a good win down the road. I mean, Kentucky has put themselves in a good position where they're in pretty good shape, getting the tournament and stuff like that. That would have been a 5th straight win for Tennessee, including at Alabama and against Auburn, at Georgia. And you basically you blow it. So it's a tough one. They've got what should be 3 straight wins here in the next 3 games. Mississippi State, LSU, Oklahoma before coming here to Vanderbilt. So and that one could be a big one.
It could be. I mean, you felt at the half you were up 47-33. I think Ament had 19 in the first half. And it's like, well, here he goes. I heard, I think it was Jimmy Dykes on the broadcast. He was like, Ament's playing as well as anybody in the country right now. And I was like, you're darn right he is, Jimmy. Let's get out there. And then the second half, you just totally evaporate and choke it away. And again, second time in a 3-week span that you've had Kentucky on the ropes that you just totally let them off the hook. And now they've swept you in the regular season. And we'll see what that looks like in the SEC tournament if they get matched up again at some point. But that's a big win for Kentucky and Tennessee, to your point, and they did it to begin the game. They had one possession where they, to their credit, kept getting offensive rebounds. I think they got like 4 offensive rebounds on this one possession at the beginning of the game. But they were just chucking things up and bricking left and right. It's like this team has a special ability to go through stretches where they just cannot hit anything, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah. If you just take these 2 games where like they were in total command, and you don't blow them, you're 18-5 right now. You're 8-2 in the SEC, tied with Florida at the top. I mean, you're a top 4 seed. Just those 2 games.
Yeah.
Not to mention some of the other games that that they could look at right now and say, man, I mean, those are the 2 close ones. They also lost the Kansas game that they could have won and stuff like that. But the Syracuse game, I mean, that's a tough one right there for sure. But they also aren't far from being, I think that level of team. I still think that they could be a top 4 seed, a protected seed, and that is the goal here moving forward. Plus, again, those 2 games against Vanderbilt coming up February 21st and March 7th to close the season at home. I mean, those are big games, and I think the rivalry is gonna be really good this year.
Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Steve and Franklin to the program. Steve, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, guys. Looking forward to the 60-degree weather.
Same.
This Tennessee team, it's amazing to me how you can be one of the best rebounding teams in the nation and then get outscored in the paint by 20 points and miss layup after layup. I believe Estrella missed 9 shots. I know he scored 11 points, but And then Brown, Opara, and Carey, they contribute absolutely nothing offensively as far as scoring goes. And, I mean, it's just a fact that this team's only going to go as far as Ament and Gillespie take them. And fortunately, I don't think that's going to be very far. Thanks for taking my call.
Yep. Thank you, Steve. To his point, Estrella, 4 of 13 for the field in that game. Not good.
No, and he's a talented player, and I'm a believer in him, but he is a bunny misser. It's just, and sometimes it gets in your head. This year he has missed so many. Color's saying Carey. In some games, Carey is a factor offensively. It kind of depends on the matchup. Length can bother him, but he can be, an effective player. But yeah, Tennessee, number 1 in the country in offensive rebound percentage, 45.2% of its misses.
Yep.
And really Rick Barnes had good rebounding teams, but he's never had that. Like a team number 1 in the country with that. But the 3-point percentage, 35. And the other defense it's good, but it's 16th in Ken Palm. They're used to being in the top 2 or 3. Their offense is in the mid-30s. The benchmark for can you be a national championship contender typically is within the top 30 of both of those things. It's not an impossible thing for them, to get there with their offense, but is their defense good enough, in March in these big games against the really good teams? Because that's one thing you could count on, obviously, more, especially with Ziegler just at the point and all the disruption that he caused.
Not a great loss for Vanderbilt over the weekend either. They lose 92-91 to Oklahoma. They were outscored 48-34 in the first half. They made a push in the second half, got it within 1, but 92-91 the final score there. Oklahoma wins. Oklahoma had lost 9 in a row heading into that game, so not a great loss for Vanderbilt at home against Oklahoma over the weekend.
And that's a game that I thought, can they survive this game? Duke Miles still out. Frankie Collins still out. Tyler Tanner's got something with his hand too, but he went nuts in the second half. But I mean, they're not that good with that, especially without Duke Miles. It's been Tanner and Miles together. He had the minor surgery, so I'm not sure if he's gonna does he have a chance to come back at Auburn? Because certainly that's a tough game coming up tomorrow night. I don't know, but until they get him back, and the Frankie Collins thing is kind of a weird situation. And it's kind of vague over there, the way they're talking about it. But they need them both, but especially Miles. Without Miles, this is not – it just doesn't have enough. And they're going to be limited inside no matter what. That's how they're constructed. They're not very big. But you got to have Tanner and Miles playing off each other to be the team that we saw early in the year. So – if they can survive Auburn, I mean, shoot, there's a big one, with Texas A&M coming in here. This is a huge week, and I don't know if he's going to be back or not. If not, I'd probably pick him to lose both of those games.
Yep, that would not be good. But like you said, I mean, Tyler Tanner had 37 in the game, went nuts in the second half, and almost enough for Vanderbilt to overcome it, but not quite. 92-91 the final for Oklahoma there. By the way, did you see the Lady Vols yesterday?
I didn't really watch the game.
Smoked by South Carolina.
I wasn't surprised by the outcome. I mean, South Carolina is again just a complete. I mean, South Carolina, UConn in the national or UCLA in the national title game is going to be unbelievable.
93-50 the final yesterday.
Yeah,
and Kim Caldwell not very happy after the game. Basically said, "Yeah, team quit." So
yeah,
gonna be interesting to see how that all plays out.
She called her team out big time and basically said they quit.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting one. Actually, someone asked Dawn Staley then about that. Like, I guess basically like what advice would you give? And Staley's like, well, one, I probably wouldn't say that. But, and she went into this whole thing about find something you did well and focus on that, because if it's all from the negative, then it's going to be a negative response. Again, this is coaching philosophy. There's still coaches out there who coach with the negative and it works, but Dawn Staley has got herself a heck of a team. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see the response from Tennessee. It's not a great team.
That's the worst loss in the history of the program.
That's not good. It's not a great team. It's year 2 for Kim Caldwell, so you do have to remember that. I do wonder, I do wonder if her style, obviously she's it's defensive pressure is she's all about that, turning people over, right? And that's one of those. It's a style that like when you play lesser opponents or even like equalish or lesser opponents, it can really give you an advantage. But when you play the best of the best, so far it just hasn't really worked out. So I think that's an interesting thing to track. I mean, it's early, but it's a little bit alarming.
Well, especially in like today's college sports landscape. I mean, I honestly kind of like a coach every now and then getting up there and being like, just calling out the players. But it's also like, well, you're the coach and you pick the players. So if you got that big of a problem with the players, you're the one who picked them. So ultimately, it comes back to you.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I think both things can be true, though, right? Like you can take accountability, and you can also say, I mean, Rick Barnes calls out players publicly all the time.
Sure,
like, and usually, like specifically, like, I need this guy to start rebounding, or he's not going to play.
Yeah.
Some people don't like that. That's a much more of an old school way to go about it. But, I don't. I don't mind it. It comes down to like, can they handle that? And so probably fewer players now can than could 10, 15 years ago.
Probably so. 615-737-1025, our phone number. The Rob Rant coming up next. Corey Curtis will be with us at 8 o'clock. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Don't make me angry.
Sometimes you have to tell someone to pound sand.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
This is the Rob Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
You want to be in the all-22, Robert?
I feel this pressure to always wipe.
Here's a man that has touched the hem of Jesus.
A lot of grunting that goes on in places like that.
Did I talk to Michael? Micah.
And my belly was so big, I was like, dude, I'm going to die soon.
I will fart your world up.
What's wrong with really a loose pocket mint? Real ones don't wipe.
Boy, did that make me mad. It is time for the Rob Rant here on Robby and Rexrode. You can check it out every morning here on the program, either the Rob Rant or the Rex Rant. Or, at some point, we're going to get a rant from Ian Safar. Need to work on that.
The last rant I had was very anticlimactic.
That's all right.
Disagreeable, Ian.
Yeah.
We'll get another one soon.
So I
Just
wish
whenever he's ready. I'm not going to force him to do it.
Yeah, no, it's got
Whenever something bubbles up.
It's got to come naturally,
Yeah.
like wiping apparently, which I have no idea what the context of those comments.
Ian's
were.
file runs deep in there, man.
Yes, it does.
Gets deeper by the episode.
Deep. Yeah, it's deep, all right.
I got a couple of different things to complain about today. I understand the Super Bowl has turned into this big spectacle, and we got to have like every possible either pregame ceremony or just anything that has nothing to do with football going on either before, during, and after all the games. I understand, like, we're never going back. That's what it is now. I mean, it's the biggest sporting event in the world. It is what it is. It was hilarious yesterday. So before the Super Bowl started, I guess they had Green Day come out there and they did this little pre-concert thing. And while they were singing, they had all these legends walk out from this basically box that they put on the field. So it's like, here's Steve Young, and here's Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning, and Lynn Swann. It's like, all right, cool, there they are. And then Green Day's in the middle of their concert, and all of a sudden, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and Lynn Swann and all these guys just walk up on the stage. And then before the game, they're doing the coin toss, and it's like, and now joining them on the field is Peyton Manning and Lynn Swann. It's like, oh my God, how many times do we have to introduce Peyton Manning and Lynn Swann out here? It's like, once is enough. Do we have to sit here and have Lynn Swann walking around the entire stadium 55 times before the game starts? Get Lynn Swann on the field, keep him out there, introduce him one time. It's all good. Like, even they're like, and here for the 7th time today, here's Joe Montana. But we're in San Francisco, by the way. Here he is. It's like, oh my God. Can we just get the guys out there one time and go? I saw more of Lynn Swann yesterday than I've seen in years, which is fine. I have nothing against Lynn Swann, but they introduced him like 5 times yesterday. I was like, here's Lynn Swann again. It's like, holy crap, man. Good grief. So you had that. And then you have Collinsworth. And Collinsworth, I think, is a special offender of this. This is what he does a lot. Like, in the first quarter of the game, he's like, the game could come down to this one right here. And it's like, Collinsworth does that a lot. He did it again before the half, too, when the Patriots were backed up. He's like, well, they better get a first down here or they're going to be in some serious trouble. Like, the game's over with if they don't pick up a first down on this play with more than 36 minutes of game time remaining in the game when it's 6-0 at the time. He does that a lot, and it drives me nuts.
He also does it's like, this is the best defensive performance I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and again, it was great. It was great. But like the hyperbole from Collinsworth, I cannot remember seeing something like this, which he says every time he does a Pat Mahomes game, I'm not sure I've seen anyone like this before. Okay.
I think the Mahomes stuff is starting to bother him a little bit. He gets asked about it all the time now. He was doing some media day stuff. He got asked about it. I think it's starting to upset him.
Starting to get a little bit upset. Yeah. And it's like Dick Vitale and Duke, people start calling Dookie V. So it's like, I don't know. I can't think of anything that you'd call Chris, but yeah, he's a quarterback fluffer, but that's a lot of people are. It's just a little bit high. Yeah, it's an interesting point on the legends and just the whole. All of it is just it's all too much.
Well, I knew you were going to be disgusted when Brady and Montana were out there. I was like, oh boy, this is not friendly for Rexrode. Brady and Montana coming out there.
No, both great quarterbacks. I mean, I'm glad that. I'm glad they got Joe Montana out there. He played for the Niners. He's certainly one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen in the NFC West. So solid.
Top 5 quarterback in Niners history, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say that's true. Steve Young won.
Alex Smith, number 2.
Oh man, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Hey, let's not forget Jeff Garcia. That guy,
Jimmy G.
Jeff Garcia, my fantasy team. Back in the day, he put some numbers up there, throwing it to To.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, he's top 5. Montana's top 5 for sure.
That's good. It's good. Brady, we'll see whether or not he ever gets in the Hall of Fame, but he got his little moment last night walking out on stage 55 times.
Yeah, in case he doesn't get in the Hall of Fame, at least he has that.
He was all over those red carpets too.
Brady was everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I've never seen so many interviews with Brady, and just ridiculous, stupid stuff. He has no personality.
Wow.
Like, why are we asking him like funny questions about? Oh, what's come up with a one-line word association for this? It's like, oh, underrated, hard worker. It's like, yeah, the dude's lame.
I agree. Now, he did have the best moment to me of the commercials, which was not good. There weren't that many that I thought were good, but I mean, I thought the Duncan commercial was easily the best.
There's too much AI in there.
Well,
in the Duncan one,
it was all AI.
They had because
all young.
Joey look young. And
yeah,
but the references, if you get the references, there were some good ones, and the fact that we had Jennifer Aniston saying you like donuts, how you like these nuts, like the playoff. That's pretty good, man. With Brady's face up against which of course is a Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah.
That was easily number 1 to me.
The commercials have gone way downhill in Super Bowl,
which
like
is
we're running out of ideas
because the money, the amount they're paying is not going down. But yeah, there were a few other good ones. But yeah, that one was the only one that I thought was great, and Brady was part of it.
Yeah, no, the commercials they've gone the other way. But I want to congratulate Len Swan on all the airtime he got last night. Him and Peyton Manning both. It was special.
That's good.
When they did it for the coin toss, I audibly out loud was like, "Oh my gosh, how many times are they going to introduce Len Swan tonight?"
Hey, Len Swan, man, incredible. Talk about a guy who's great in the Super Bowl. That Len Swan.
Yeah.
Also brings me back to the days of like Lynn Swan and Jack Arute being sideline reporters.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't. Yeah.
Well, maybe that's Brady's next step. Brady can be the sideline reporter after the doing the games in the booth doesn't work out.
I would welcome that. I would welcome less of him talking, actually.
See Brady's interviewing skills.
I'd like to see that.
He had like this weird interview with Kenneth Walker. It was like post game after, I guess, one of the playoff games. Kenneth Walker had a huge game, and Brady did interview him.
Yeah.
And at the very end, Brady's like, "Go blue," and Kenneth Walker's like, "Go green." It was very awkward.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Corey Curtis will be with us coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. And as we do every Monday morning at 8 o'clock, it's time to head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our friend Corey Curtis from News 2, brought to you by Tennessee Men's Clinic. Corey, good morning. How are you?
I am a delight, Robert, but I am also beginning a period of mourning.
No football?
The end of the NFL season.
Well, don't worry. I mean, the Combine's coming up. Rexrode's favorite event of the year. Then you got the legal tampering period begins a month from today. So there's no offseason in the NFL.
There isn't. I love it. I actually am. I'm a sicko. I like the offseason almost as much as the season.
Yeah. Draft coming up.
No, I mean,
all kinds of stuff.
I think the NFL.
OTAs.
I think the NFL offseason, it's guaranteed. Like you're not going to ever have like a bad game, right? You're not going to have a crappy. It's always going to win.
It's true. It's true. So Corey, nice championship, deservedly won last night by the Seattle Seahawks. Their defense was suffocating. Sam Darnold is now a Super Bowl champion, which we'll get into that here in just a second. But what did you make of the game last night, and particularly the performance on defense by Seattle, which was suffocating all night long?
Well, it wasn't surprising. I mean, it was the game that I thought we would see because I just thought Seattle was a better team on both sides of the ball. At virtually every position, I thought Seattle was better going into this game. I think the Patriots were lucky the game was as close as it was. Sam Darnold had a couple of chances to hit Jackson Smith and Jigba for touchdowns and missed them. And it could have been a bigger blowout. It could have been Super Bowl 20-esque, when the Patriots got demolished by the Bears. Because it was very, very one-sided. But Seattle's a great team. The Mike McDonald's done a great job. GM's done a great job. They have power and speed up front. They won that game without Smith and Jigba really doing anything, which is just amazing. Even down to the punter. They've got the highest paid punter in football. He's the only player at his position who is the highest paid player in the league for either team. But he was tremendous for the Seahawks last night. They were great. I'm not trying to pile on the Patriots and saying, "Oh, they didn't deserve to be there." They deserve to be there. They won the games that were in front of them to get there. But they don't beat the Rams. They probably don't beat the Bears, and they probably don't beat the 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, early, midway through the second quarter, I'm just like, God, this is just like New England. New England is just not on this level, and this really stinks that we have to watch them now. Actually, playing this game.
When Bo Nix went down, because there's no way they beat the Broncos if Bo Nix plays that game, and so we got a team that again beat the teams in front of it, but had some things go right, and the AFC just not as good as the NFC right now.
That's what I was gonna say. Like they still, to me, they would have trucked the Broncos too. But yeah, it's like NFL AFL 1968. So when you look at Seattle's team building, Corey, and you think about the Titans or other teams in the league, what stands out to you in terms of, this is something that you absolutely need to learn from and that might be mimicked moving forward?
Well, number one, they went and got a quarterback who's playing well, a guy who didn't start well in his NFL career, but, is now playing at a level that can win Super Bowls. But I think first and foremost, you have to look at how well they drafted at the top of the draft. Just look at the guys that they've picked that are on their team, and they're not just players on their team. They're great players on their team. They got the offensive lineman Zabel. They've got Jackson Smith and Jigba. Nick Emenwari. You got Witherspoon. You can go all over the field and find high draft picks that are performing at a really, really high level for them. And then, when you've added free agents like Sam Darnold and Leonard Williams over the years, it really puts it all together. They weren't afraid to move on from a couple of aging veterans in Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, and they got better. And so, draft well at the top, because that is my thing. And again, like everybody, you got to have a quarterback who can get it done for you. So congratulations to Sam Darnold for one of the great career comebacks of all time.
How big of a problem do the Patriots have with Will Campbell as their left tackle, and should somebody talk Vrabel out of drafting offensive linemen moving forward?
Was that I heard that was a Super Bowl record for pressures allowed. 14.
Give up 14. It's hard to do.
It's all time. I mean, he's a rookie. Peter Skoronski wasn't great as a rookie, and he's a very good player now. So I don't think you can give up on him. And also, they just played 4 really good defenses. Now they did not score a ton of points in the playoffs. Once they played good defenses, their offense was exposed. They did not score a lot of points in the playoffs. But those defenses are going to give a lot of players troubles. Now, obviously 14 pressures in one game is overwhelming. I know the young man was also hurt some this year, so we don't know how completely healthy he is right now. But Vrabes does not have a great track record of adding linemen. As a head coach / GM, you could always do what he did in Nashville and bring in Andre Dillard.
It's true. He's available.
Yeah, that looked good.
Probably not.
At when it first happened. Okay, so
what are you doing with your hands, Joe? What is that? What is that?
Oh, I missed
the
guy.
Gentry.
Missed the guy. Yeah, he had some great ones. I need to hear the audio. We got to go way back, but like, why are you standing there? Like, remember the one where like he didn't like people standing to the side? Like, what?
No.
Dude, what is going on with you? You don't remember that? That was like early. It was like, this guy's going to be a freaking disaster. All right, well, speaking of Vrabel, so next, let's say in the next 8 years, you have to bet one way or the other. Either the Patriots will make multiple Super Bowls and win at least one, or they will not get back to this stage. You have to bet a large sum of money on either side.
So they've got to get to multiple Super Bowls, so more than one.
Yeah, and win at least one, or they don't get back. Next 8 years.
I'll bet they don't get back.
I think I would too. I wouldn't feel great about either one, but I think I would join you in that.
Wow.
Well,
Vrabel might have blown it.
Well, no, like, what skill players do they have other than Travion Henderson that you like?
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to address that, but yeah, I agree. Right now they're certainly not that. Right now they're certainly not a championship team.
He tried to address that here and couldn't do it. All right, they did not add good players here the last few years, and so you're expecting him to add good players this year. Now they added players and got better this year. There's no question about that. I think they had 30 new players, most in the league this year. But Harold Landry is getting older. He is not getting younger. Stephon Diggs is getting older. Hunter Henry is getting older. And by the way, none of those guys showed up last night. None of them showed up last night. And so, you're talking about getting past Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen as well. How many times are they going to get by all of those guys?
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
And Trevor Lawrence and Cam Ward and Daniel Jones, to that matter. But if I had to say, I would say no. Now, can they do it? Sure, but they're going to need more talent. They're going to need an influx of talent. He's still a good football coach. Obviously had some mistakes last night. Could have helped his left tackle out a little bit more. But that still wouldn't have made a difference. They were outclassed talent-wise, and I guess that's the big question: is can they address the talent gap that they've got with some teams in the league? Because I didn't even mention the Broncos, and how good are the Chargers going to be when they actually get their offensive linemen back? And they're going to be a problem.
Yeah, I believe it with the Chargers when I see it, I think, at this point. But I hear you on the offensive line front.
Robbie, I get you there, brother, because I've been taking that cheese for 15 years.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking of upgrading talent, we had the George Pickens discussion last week. Well, that ain't happened. He's going to get tagged by the Cowboys here. I like Alec Pierce. I like Romeo Doubs. But neither one of those guys are number one wide receivers. I like Carnell Tate, right, in Ohio State, but I don't know that he's going to be a number one receiver in the NFL. So that's a long way, Corey, of me asking you, how in the world are the Titans going to find their number one receiver moving forward?
They're not this year. I don't think they are unless they can hit him in round 2 of the draft. I don't see them finding that guy. I think they're going to have to complement what they've got and try to do it. I hate to say by committee, but you hope the guys you've got get a year better, and then you get a guy who can actually really complement that group and be a guy who can be productive. And you're going to have to pay for it, but you can't pay for it and expect you can't pay a guy number one money who's not a number one. All right. You have to pay the guy for what he is. And, you can't pay Alec Pierce, $30 million a year. All right. Because, he's got to be our number one. He's not a number one. He is a good complementary piece. He's a good long ball player. And Romeo Doubs, has been with a lot of other good players in Green Bay and has been a good player, not a great player. And so, that's what you pay them to be. And you hope that the accumulation of players, because a lot of teams are ball dominant on one or two guys. And, maybe you can do it with 3 or 4 guys, without your Jamar Chase, without your Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you can do it. But I was talking about this the other day, and I think unless you're going to use the 4th pick and there's a guy that you think is the one, then I don't think you're going to get a 1 this year. But I don't think the Lions thought they were getting a 1 when they were drafting Brown in the 4th round. So you never know what you're going to strike on later in the draft, but that can't be the expectation. You can't be thinking, we think this guy can be our 1 down the line. I just have to think you're not going to get that guy this year.
Yeah, if you have multiple 2s, then it's like it's not ideal, but like if you have like 3-4 guys who can play, you can work with that, right?
Yeah, look, they scored points to finish the season. They scored 24 points against that team that played last night. All right, and so if they shoot, Joe, I would love to see them score 20 points a game this year. Okay, it's been nice. A while since we've seen that, and they can certainly become good enough offensively where if they elevate their defense, they can be consistent, on a weekly basis. Now, are they going to be a Super Bowl level team? Probably not, but you could, the Patriots just made the Super Bowl without a 1. Stephon Diggs is not a 1 at this point in his career. But they just made the Super Bowl. So it can be done.
Corey Curtis joins us every Monday morning at 8:00 here on the program. Corey, great stuff as always, and welcome to the NFL offseason.
By the way, I wanted to bring up a couple things because I never let you guys hang up on me when you want to.
It's okay.
Vegas, and I should have brought this up when you asked the question about the Patriots earlier. Vegas has the Patriots, I think, as the 10th favorite to come to the Super Bowl next year.
Wow.
All right. So they're way down on the list. So even the betting numbers, don't support, a Patriots repeat, which is interesting. That usually you get that immediate bounce. But they're not getting that.
And we all saw them play last night, including Vegas
before the game.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
This was before the game. So I thought that was indeed interesting, and I forgot my other point. So you can go ahead and hang up on me.
Okay. Well, real quick trivia: Kenneth Walker, first running back MVP First one since.
I don't know. It's been. Is it this decade?
No.
Or is it this century?
No.
Okay. All right. I was going to say Timmy Smith, but go ahead.
Oh my God! Now you're going back to the late '80s. It was Terrell Davis.
Okay. Yeah.
Long time, man.
Yeah, and I know what the voting is, but the Seahawks defensive line is the MVP.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, you can't give it to a position group, but
I thought it was going to be the kicker for a while.
No, look, Walker was the most productive player, on offense. But Devin Witherspoon was, he had the 2 sacks, including the strip sack, and sealed it. He could have been the MVP. Sam Darnold didn't turn the football over, and that was huge in that game. That he didn't make the big mistake, because if he throws pick 6 or something in the first half, that thing looks a whole lot different. But as they just kind of pounded away at them, he didn't make the mistake, and then later he was able to execute some plays. He should have had JSN twice.
Yep.
He should have had him twice. He missed that slant over the middle that Gonzalez ended up breaking up. That absolutely should have been 6 points.
Yep. Corey Curtis, brought to you by Tennessee Men's Clinic every Monday morning at 8:00 here on the program. Corey, we will talk to you next week.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
All right. We'll see you. We'll react to what Corey had to say. Take your thoughts on the Super Bowl last night. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby and Rexrode here with you on this Monday morning, presented by Green Venture Landscaping. Green Venture Landscaping designs and builds outdoor spaces that actually get used, patios, hardscapes, the whole deal. Homes and businesses that want to stand out, not blend in. For more information, visit greenventurelandscaping.com. I'm taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Joe, I'm just doing a quick scroll of social media. Will Campbell just getting absolutely roasted out there. A lot of people going back to the comments he had at LSU when he was talking about, if a defensive lineman gets a sack a game, he's a top 5 pick. If an offensive lineman gives up 1 sack a game, he's going to work at Amazon. A lot of people have now photoshopped Will Campbell in his Amazon outfit out there too. So
yeah, I think Will
not
Campbell,
a good day on social media for Will Campbell.
Yeah, he'd probably be. I guess I'd probably advise that anyway. But like especially now, probably be good to just go ahead and get away from the phone.
Yeah.
Get away.
Log off for a little while.
Yeah. Hang out with the people who love you. And
yeah. Look, Corey's correct. He is a rookie. So
yeah,
he's allowed to get better.
Yeah, he's a rookie.
I don't know if he's I don't know if left tackle specifically is going to be in his future.
Yeah, because we didn't see. Yeah, that's the thing. We didn't see Peter Skronsky on an island as a rookie. He wasn't overwhelming. It was they were bad all the way around. This is like it would be shocking to me if Will Campbell turns into a solid left tackle. I mean, it would be shocking. Again, you can improve. You can improve. We've talked about that all the time, right? Like the idea that you can, of course you can, but like there's some limitations I think that are on display that I don't know what you do. You're in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would improve that much. So yeah, it's
not good.
Yeah. He's going to be a guard.
By the way, I think ESPN Insights put this out there, and I don't, has that replaced like ESPN stats and info? I don't know what they're doing now, but apparently ESPN Insights put this out there that the Seahawks did not turn the ball over the entire postseason. So they are, let me find the stat again. Yeah, didn't turn the ball over the entire postseason. So good for them. You win some games if you do that.
You will. They're
the first Super Bowl champion to go their entire postseason run without committing a turnover.
And that's a great stat. And that is a credit to Sam Darnold. I will say, I mean, again, we said it earlier, but like he
threw a couple early in the game.
Yeah, the one at the end of the half, it probably doesn't matter, right? Because it's just like, okay, so it's just going to be 6-0. And then the next field goal just make it 9-0. Like it's just 3 points less. But like that still was like, he threw it right into Christian Gonzalez's hands, and you have to catch that ball. And maybe there's some kind of emotional lift or something out of that play if you make it, Yeah. Probably still not going to help your offense execute. But no, that's a hell of a stat. You have to, and I do, even though he almost threw those picks, you got to be more careful than that. I will say, like, he is just not afraid of putting into a tight window.
Darnold, for sure.
Like, to his credit, I mean, he's not afraid to run around, extending plays and letting it rip. I mean, pretty good.
Well, even the one like he had the play in the first half where he's running around and he's got pressure all around him and he escapes to the left and Smith and Jigba got out and started going deep. And he's I don't necessarily blame him for missing that throw because he's got guys like on his back when he's doing it. Yeah. But I mean, he's about a half yard away from that being a touchdown.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's probably the MVP. He probably gets the MVP if that play is made. You know. I'm glad that I was a little worried at the end. I was like, they're just going to give this to Darnold because he's the quarterback. Yeah. And it's obviously a great story. And to their credit, they gave it to the right guy.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, Darnold, 19 of 38, 202 yards. That's the thing. Heading into the game, if you'd have told me Darnold was 19 of 38 for 202 and Jackson Smith and Jigba caught 4 catches for 27 yards, I'd have probably said, well, the Patriots probably won then, huh? Nope. They did not need the Darnold to Smith and Jigba connection basically at all in this game.
By the way, we haven't really gotten to this, and it's really important. I can't believe it. Am I right in that if that late Kenneth Walker touchdown that wiped off the board goes, that Ian beats me? I think that
I haven't looked at the final count here. So.
I did not look.
I think that if that went, that hits the over, and then I think that you beat me. But unfortunately, you'll be buying Robby pizza.
Wow. Okay.
But I will I'll be there too.
We'll wait for the official count.
Yeah, that's fine. You can that's fine. Real quick also on Ian, did you see this from Byron?
No.
Well, Adam is saying we should do Ian rants, but they should be like positive rants, right? Byron has it so far so good rant.
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty good, man.
It's not bad.
That's pretty freaking good.
I
So
kinda
far,
like it.
so far, so good.
You know,
like a positive. Like, yeah, take away from all the negativity that we're always pushing, and just come with like, here's something that's really good that's going on in the world.
Yeah. There you go, Ian.
What do you think?
I like it.
All right, let's go.
I like it. Sure. One texter says, people forget how physically gifted Sammy D is. The dude's a unit out there. The play where he scrambled out, I think he picked up like 11 yards or whatever it was. I was like, hey, look at Sam Darnold out there.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
he's always had the tools.
The bottom line is the dude is 28-6 over the last 2 years in the regular season and has now won a Super Bowl. Like, there's not a whole lot of arguments that you could poke a hole in with that. I mean, the numbers are what they are. He's a pretty good quarterback.
No doubt. And it's, again, a lot of people are going to try to, I think, replicate that. I think this is something that we already are seeing. We're already seeing the trend. But I think what he did is he gave someone like a Zach Wilson, although I wouldn't touch him. But I mean, for example, maybe a little bit better chance of getting a shot somewhere.
Will Levis will get a shot somewhere. I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna want him. This is our starter. Particularly like when you're talking about like highly drafted guys, right? Like,
yeah.
Darnold's a highly drafted guy. The talent has always been there, but he just wasn't able to put it together because he's playing for the New York Jets early in the career. Like it does make me wonder about, and I don't have any confidence that this particular person I'm about to mention is going to figure it out one day.
I know who you're going to say.
But Anthony Richardson, right? Like, does he,
someone
physical tools are there at some point. Does somebody, I don't know, 2-3 years down the road, look at him and say, well, he's got all the talent in the world. Maybe he's figured some things out.
Yeah, I think so. But also, I thought you were going to say Mac Jones, because another thing about this is, of course, I think Darnold really did benefit from being in San Francisco.
I agree.
And I think it's almost like that's like your discarded quarterback car wash.
Yeah.
And so maybe a Mac Jones is a guy, maybe the next guy who gets a real look somewhere.
They say they're not trading him. They're saying they're keeping Mac Jones. So we'll see.
It's probably not a bad idea.
Probably not a bad idea.
Good to have two good ones.
615-737-1025. Our phone number. More your reaction to get to from the Super Bowl. Plus, if you're a Titans fan and you watch Seattle build this team, what can you take away from it and apply to the Titans? We'll get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping. If you're tired of guessing with your lawn, Green Ventures Landscaping uses professional turf application to get real results. Thicker grass, better color, fewer bare spots. Design, build, maintain. For more information, visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Taking your thoughts on the Super Bowl last night. Joey mentioned the 14 pressures given up by Will Campbell. And it wasn't just Will Campbell. I mean, their offensive line as a whole was not good last night. One of the things that also stood out to me was it felt like every time Seattle blitzed, they just got a free rusher every time. Like I don't know if New England picked up a blitz the entire night.
No, for sure. Like they did not look prepared, and a lot of flowers to Josh McDaniels this year. But like it looked like, although you can obviously point at the just straight up inability to block people, a lot of this was that.
Yeah,
I agree. Anytime they sense someone. Actually, like I don't ever remember the back picking up the DB blitzing or the linebacker. It's just, like Collinsworth was saying, they're definitely rotating into something different. But that's also a common NFL practice. It's not like some revolutionary approach. It just seems like they use their 2 weeks better than the Patriots did. At least the Patriots offensively. Patriots defense, by the way, there's a lot of credit because when you are that overloaded and overwhelmed and you just know your offense is screwed, defenses break down. Eventually they did, but I mean, they hung in there.
I thought
Christian past on a lot of defenses would have.
I thought Christian Gonzalez was the best player on the field last night. Like on both teams. I thought he was the best player on the field.
Good.
Yeah, he's very good. So, but to your point, I mean, if you can't do anything offensively, I mean, until the fourth quarter, how many times did New England pass the 50? Once?
Yeah, maybe they would get close or they'd get around there, and then they'd take a sack,
which is kind of amazing nowadays because, I mean, with the new kickoff stuff, you basically start at the 30 all the time or the 35. So like it's just they've got nothing going.
Yeah,
offensively. Joseph in Brentwood says it's surprising that Phillip Rivers did a better job against Seattle's defense than the AFC champs did.
That is
just get Rivers in there; it'll all work out.
That is an interesting point.
By the way, the Super Bowl odds for next year are out. We heard Corey mention those earlier. So this is from DraftKings, apparently. Teams with the best odds to win the Super Bowl next year. Seattle and LA tied at 1 with plus 950.
Okay.
The Bills at plus 1,100 are third. Ravens, Eagles. Those are your top 5. Well, I guess technically the Ravens, the Eagles, and the Patriots are all tied. So there's at plus 1,300. Then you have the Packers and the Lions, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the 49ers.
Chiefs way down there.
Chiefs are way down there compared to where they normally are.
Well, I might I'm not. You should fade everything I ever say, but I'm just saying. Chiefs being that low, what they're plus what?
Plus 1,500. Same as the Chargers.
I'm just saying, like
they got a lot of work.
Would you be? They do, but like, would you be shocked if they had a great offseason and all of a sudden,
no,
all of a sudden they're 13-4 next year?
No.
I'm not. And then you get that guy in the playoffs again.
I would not be shocked. No.
Yeah. That might be
I do notice that
might be the play.
The Bengals are not on this list, and they're on this list like every year. And now finally they're like, yeah, we'll just hold off.
They just
on the Bengals.
They just flat out stink.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow can only do so much. Kept his receivers, still stink.
Yeah. So there you go.
Can't stay healthy.
The Seahawks and the Rams plus 950 to win the Super Bowl next year, tied for number 1, according to DraftKings. So there you go. I think, and I said it earlier, I had this thought watching the game right around the second quarter, and it was like, yeah, I think the Super Bowl was played a couple weeks ago between the Rams and the Seahawks. Those are the 2 best teams in the league. And the fact that Stafford put up the numbers he put up against that defense on the road, pretty incredible.
Yeah, another thing about after it's all said and done,
MVP races.
Yeah, it turned out the right way.
Yep.
Right. Like, I mean, look, admittedly, not watching a ton of Patriots this year, I thought it was a better race than it probably should have been because he's not on his level. He's not remote.
And again,
he's not remotely on his level.
People are gonna crush Drake May today, and I get it. Like you're that bad in the Super Bowl, you're gonna get crushed. I still think Drake May is gonna end up being a really good quarterback. Drake May, I think, is gonna have a long, really good career in New England. My guess is they'll probably be back in this game at some point, and Drake May will play much better than he did last night. But last night he looked like a second-year quarterback with an offensive line around him that was cratering. that started seeing some ghosts. Like it was, I thought early in the game he was holding on to the ball too long. It was like it almost felt like he thought he had all the time in the world back there. And I was like, dude, you better get rid of the ball or you're going to get killed. And then as the game went on, he was getting pressured the whole game. But there were some snaps where he dropped back and the pocket was okay, and he just panicked and he missed wide open throws that you can't miss. And it just kind of felt like he was seeing ghosts out there.
Even the last pick, I don't know if he thought he was sitting down or something. He must have. But if he leads him, that could be a massive play, and he just throws it, in the middle of the field and it's picked off. It was a mess, and yes, it was just a lot of it. It was not his fault. Adam Portland talking about Stevenson looked like Derrick Henry all season, then why'd they keep him on the sideline so much? Yeah, Henderson obviously he's a big play guy. I think it did get to the point, Collinsworth said this, where it was like, they're just hoping to pop one.
Yeah.
Like at this point, and Henderson obviously gives you the better chance. It's like just run into some big play somehow. He almost did a couple times, at least break like a 20+, but didn't because Seattle tackles and they're just sound everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, they hit a couple of plays down the field in the fourth quarter finally that are going to boost. I mean, Drake May he ended up throwing for 295 yards in that game. You could have told me, watching it all happen, that he threw for like 70. And I'd have been like, yep, sounds right. I mean, they were totally all over him all night. And he made a couple big plays in the fourth when the game was out of hand. But I mean, go watch the game last night. It was a dominant performance. Now, I don't know that it was the best performance I've seen defensively, like Collinsworth was saying all night long in the third and fourth quarter. It's the best defensive performance I've ever seen. I was like, I don't know about that, but it was pretty darn good from Seattle last night.
Yeah, like every other game, he's like, I have not seen anything like this. Like, yeah, I think you probably have, Chris.
You watched a lot of football, Chris.
You played in the Super Bowl in the Silverdome in 1982. So you've been around a little more than you seem to claim.
Yeah,
I don't hate Collinsworth like some people. I mean, and Tirico,
no, he's fine.
He's fine. And Tirico is probably is Tirico the best play-by-play announcer? I mean, it's pretty amazing. He's doing the Olympics and the Super Bowl right now. He's just
post game on the field,
flying all over the. I mean,
Jim Nantz is pretty good.
Yeah,
I like McDonough.
Well, I think McDonough is the best all-around. I agree. I think McDonough is the best all-around play-by-play announcer in America.
I think the best all-around play-by-play announcer is Kevin Harlan. I think Kevin Harlan's outstanding.
He's very good. Yeah, I can't argue against that. McDonough is the most versatile. I just don't know. I feel like Tirico's
good
for like a big game. Like Tirico is a Super Bowl player. I'm like, that seems.
I like Mike Tirico.
That seems like of the rotation would be what? Buck Aikman, Tirico Collinsworth,
Nance Roma, Brady, and
Nance Roma, and God, one of these is not like the other.
It always comes.
Where's
back.
the Thursday night crew?
Yeah, Michaels and Herb Street.
I'm fine now with Herb Street. Early on, I was like, don't do the NFL. You're a college guy. I gotta say, man, I understand. There's a lot of criticism, and Al Michaels has pushed back on it. I just don't think he cares that much.
I don't either.
It's just not the same Al Michaels. And maybe it's just as simple as just he's older.
Yeah.
And so that is true too. But it just doesn't. At first, I was like, this is bad.
Yeah.
Now it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just not the same. I just don't think. And I get it, man. He's been calling. I mean, he called the Miracle on Ice. How do you get excited about Jags Bengals on a Thursday? When you called Miracle on Ice 45 years ago.
That'd be a pretty good game now. Jags Bengals.
It would be.
Yeah.
Is that the game that Urban lost before heading to the bar? I think was that against the Jags? I don't remember. No, it was the next week. I'm sorry. Yes, obviously he was with the Jags. It was in Cincinnati.
I think so.
So there you go.
Made a pit stop on the way back.
A little pit stop, yeah. Just a
Urban, what are you doing over there?
Story time.
Hey, you got a subscription to The Athletic?
I wonder if he does.
You need some help? 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. Final thoughts on the Super Bowl coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Register today for Stars Trivia Night at Boomba's in East Nashville on Thursday, February the 19th. It'll be a night full of fun, food, and prizes, all while supporting Stars Nashville, a nonprofit providing free mental health support for students in over 200 schools across Middle Tennessee. For more details on how to register, visit thegamenashville.com/events. Take your thoughts at 615-737-1025.
Got some brilliance on the text line. And I'm serious. Adam and I, man, Adam, sometimes Adam and I disagree. I'm first of all, Adam is all in on the So Far So Good. He didn't get credit for it, but he's a big proponent of that. So we're going to get that going. But he also says, I think every single person I've ever heard broadcast is better than Tom Brady at broadcasting. That's how much I absolutely hate it. And the fact that he's being paid Powerball money to do it pisses me off. Enjoy your privilege, GOAT. Also, Fox sucks. I actually like him better than you do, Adam. So I think he is better than that.
I mean, he's legitimately better than Tony Romo now. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Romo's falling off, man.
Yeah. Romo's falling off, but also I feel like some of that gets exaggerated too, doesn't it? A little bit.
I don't think it does. He's really bad.
I get like when I watch a game for the most part, it's all fine. And then here and there, he's just like, and he just does like kind of loses his mind for a little bit. And you're like, dude, what is happening? But I think like 90% of it, I think
no, he's very bad. There's way too much of, well, they're on their own 37. So that's why they didn't go for it there, Jim. Well, good. It's 4th and 10 on their own 37 there, Tony. They're not going to go for it. They're going to punt.
Too much no-brainer stuff.
Yeah.
He's not. He definitely used to be better at like one. I think he used to be really good at like, okay, whatever. They're in 11. This is going to be this, and he's right about it. Right. Stuff
that's
like
why
that.
That's why he got his deal, because he was doing that.
Yeah, and it's not as.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess I don't get offended when I watch him. I used to get offended last year very much watching Brady. I agree. He has moved up from a guy who should have been Fox's 7th team to like he should be like 3rd.
Sure. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. But I don't think he's ever going to be, and people will say he is. Oh, he's become the GOAT of broadcast. I swear in 2 years. That's what people will say. I think
people are already saying it.
Yeah, and it's like, just stop it. He's fine now. He's fine now. I don't think he's ever going to be great. Greg Olsen is way better than him, and he will never be better than Greg Olsen.
See, I think people way overrate him too, but that's fine. Greg Olsen's fine.
Man, he's pretty freaking
well,
good.
People act like Greg Olsen is like the greatest broadcaster of all time. Like, he's fine. He's good.
No, but it's the drop-off from him to he got better, and then the drop-off from him to the Brady first year was so severe.
Yeah.
That's part of it. So who's the best color commentator then?
I mean, I like Herbstreit, but
even in the NFL?
Yeah. I think he's pretty good.
I think he's pretty good too. But like he has so much, he has the knowledge of these programs in college, and so he's just so much better informed. And I feel the NFL, it's like he pops in, hey guys, a quick talk, and he doesn't have the depth of insight.
That's fair. Yeah.
And Greg Olsen's, he's a lot better than Herbstreit. I'm sorry.
I think you love Greg Olsen way too much. That's just me.
I think he's the best.
He's good. I don't again. This is like me talking about Mahomes earlier. I'm not trying to pile on Greg Olsen, but I think people love Greg Olsen. I'm like, yeah, he's fine. He's good.
Well, McDonough Olsen. That's the dream. Or Tarico Olsen.
Maybe they'll get there one day.
Tarico Olsen, actually, that'd be pretty good. Sunday Night Football, Tarico Olsen? Dude.
I mean, how much longer is Collinsworth going to do it?
I don't know.
How old is Chris Collinsworth?
I mean, he was a rookie in the NFL and
he's 67.
The late 70s. Okay. 67?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, I say that Al Michaels is in his 80s calling games, so Collinsworth could do it for 20 more years. I have no idea.
Yeah. Hope not. He's fine, but
I hope not.
It can be better. And I don't think. I mean, Aikman too. To me, is like,
yeah,
he's okay,
he's
but
right.
He just doesn't really bring that much insight. You know what I mean?
I feel like Aikman's like mad half the game. Like every game he calls, he's just mad at what he's watching half the game. Which sometimes is entertaining. And other times it's like, all right, man, come on, just call the game. What are we doing?
And he's fine. I just don't think that he just doesn't really bring. It's mostly no duh stuff.
Yeah,
it's delivered fine, but just okay. Yeah, we already know that.
Yeah.
Greg Olsen, now that's some deep insight. Who's with me? Who's with me out there?
Well, look, like I've watched a lot of Titans over the last few years. It's always like Adam Archuleta and Spiro Ditas and all this. Like, I don't ever get to watch any of these other guys. It's like, wow, it's like CBS's night team is out here for the Titans and the Texans. Let's get after it.
Well, your Packers get good announcers. That's true. So you do have that.
They do. Joe, final thoughts on the Super Bowl. If you're a Titans fan watching Seattle and what they've done here, what's your takeaway on how to build your roster moving forward?
Well, the obvious is drafting, right? That's the obvious thing that you have to do, and they have done it at an extremely high level. I think, and the quarterback thing is just different. You drafted a quarterback number 1 overall, so see how it works out. They are definitely going to be here you go. The model for this is what can happen when you go get a retread quarterback and you get the right one. But yeah, I think that obviously the Russell Wilson trade provided some of those picks, so they made bold moves. But I think the big thing that some GMs are afraid of that John Schneider is not at all is the in-season deadline deal. 3 of them that have really helped them and were a big part of this. And, it's not just rentals. We're talking about, in the last few years, guys who were on the field last night making a big difference. And that would be one takeaway for sure. Obviously, they're a well-run organization. They have cycled through an up and a down, and they got back quickly. And so that there's no question that they are well-run. They are good at scouting.
Yep.
They're good at drafting. 22 or 26 draft picks, I think, just since like 22 that were on that roster. So half the roster is just the last few drafts. That's strong.
Pretty good.
But also, yes, draft capital, all that stuff. But go ahead and go get somebody. If you're good, go get somebody. Rashid Shaheed, they made a difference this year when they went and got him. Ernest Jones. Previously, that would be my big takeaway. Learn from that, GMs. Again, the Eagles have been the same kind of thing, right? Like they go out and they've drafted. They've had their ups and downs drafting, actually. They're pretty erratic. They've had some great picks and some terrible picks, but then they supplement by going and making big trades.
Yeah. Seahawks trailed for 1 minute and 35 seconds in the postseason. Apparently, Cole Kubelik put that out there. It's the fewest amount of time trailing by a Super Bowl champion since the 91 Redskins. Wow. 1 minute and 35 seconds.
And no turnovers.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
They're a worthwhile champion. They did not have a worthwhile opponent last night.
Pretty good postseason run for the Seahawks. That's going to do it for us today on the program. We will be back 6 a.m. tomorrow. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.